decision making. Negative impact of decision making.
We need to take into account that there are negative aspects that affect decision making in a flight group, and these are lack of trust, lack of knowledge, fear, and not putting into practice what we decide.
Also, a broad decision maybe a flight crew will affect all the activities carried out on board and will have far-reaching results. Other negative aspects that we need to consider to avoid them are relying too much on intuition, lack for concentration, desire for others, abased responsibilities.
Examples of bad decisions. When a pilot decides to fly even when the current weather conditions are not very good, that will be a bad decision because the pilot continued to fly when conditions worsened or even knowing the effects they will have.
On a Christmas flight, the weather conditions expected at the landing site were not very good, but the pilot knows that if he frustrates the approach, or if he decides to return, then he will not be able to be in time to celebrate with his family. So he takes the bad decision to land and suffers a fatal accident.
A pilot promised his little children to fly home for their birthday. He promised to be there before a specific time. However, the aircraft was not in service condition. The bad decision is that the pilot decides to return home even when the aircraft is not in conditions, putting the lives of its crew and passengers at risk.
And pilot decides to maneuver the plane in a dangerous way to impress a beauty queen who was on the flight. This is a bad decision because some stern or low altitude flights can sometimes mean that.
Positive impact of decision making. It is very important to know the positive aspects that influence decision making, since a flight crew must have the ability to react quickly to adverse situations. These positive aspects are trust, workload management, teamwork, and also situational awareness.
Likewise, the flight crew must have the ability to quickly choose the most convenient option in expected situations, which will determine the success of the operation and the safety of all people on board the aircraft. For this reason, other important positive aspects that intervene in decision making are planning, communication, knowledge of aeronautical procedures, and leadership.
Examples of good decisions.
Sully's decision from the real life. Feet on the Hudson River. His decision was a good decision, although at some point it was thought to be a bad one. It took Sully 22 seconds to analyze the situation from the impact of the birds on the aircraft to its declaration of emergency and around 2 more minutes to manage it and finally decide to land in the Hudson, saving the lives of all the people on board.
In a 7-hour flight, the flight attendants see a passenger board in a drunken state. Being drunk is one of the rules that prevents anyone from traveling.